Remaking older games with modern graphics, improved mechanics, and a more fitting story is a trend that's rapidly spreading across the industry, so it's no surprise that some people want to see the classic Doom games get a full-on remake. We've just seen two back-to-back successes with the Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 remakes, both of which ended up being perfect examples of how to correctly update an older game while still keeping the same overall feel as the original. It's been proven that taking a masterpiece and giving it a modern overhaul is not just possible, but extremely successful as well. So is now the perfect time to give the original Doom games a much needed do-over? All things considered, it wouldn't be entirely unreasonable to remake any of the 4 Doom games released before 2016. A game typically needs to meet certain standards before a remake should even be considered, and all 4 games are fairly good candidates. Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, and Doom 3 are all older games, with the original turning 30 later this year, and the 2004 version of Doom 3 turning 20 next year, so they definitely fit the age requirement. All 4 of the games have aged very well, but the graphics could still be considered outdated. The graphical style of the original 3 is frequently replicated in modern boomer shooters, so it's technically still relevant, but an upgrade probably wouldn't hurt. Doom 3 did receive a visual upgrade with the BFG Edition remaster in 2012, although it's not even remotely close to modern standards, so a remake would still be pretty justified. Something that's a whole lot harder to justify are gameplay changes, which are a bigger part of most remakes. The original trilogy's gameplay still holds up incredibly well and doesn't really need any changes or improvements. It's an extremely successful formula that works because of its simplicity and versatility. Overcomplicating the combat could result in more of a downgrade than an upgrade. In a proper remake of the original trilogy, the combat would have to stay as similar to the original as possible. I've seen a handful of people suggest adding Doom Eternal's combat to a remake of the classics, but I feel like that completely destroys the purpose of having incredibly simple gameplay. It already has its own gameplay loop focused around surviving off of what you can find laying around. Adding glory kills and allowing the player to chainsaw for ammo would completely disrupt the pre-established balance. The entire point of a remake is to bring an older game up to modern standards, not to turn it into something entirely different. You're supposed to be running around at 100 miles an hour, killing demons with an iconic arsenal of badass yet simple weaponry, not dashing around, swinging on monkey bars, and using quick swap combos. I don't blame anyone for wanting that, it honestly sounds pretty great, but the changes just don't seem justified. Classic Doom with Eternal's gameplay and graphics is basically just Doom Eternal, and at that point they would be better off just doing a classic level pack instead of creating a remake. You could definitely upgrade the graphics and change the levels around here and there, but I don't think the combat itself needs to be changed along with it. That's just the first 3 games though, so what about Doom 3? Unlike the classics, I honestly think Doom 3 could benefit from a handful of combat changes. While many would like to see the game become more like Doom 2016 or the classics, I would personally love to see a more horror-focused version of the game with a combat system that reflects that. The BFG edition feels like an early 2000s action game that desperately wants to be atmospheric and scary, but it just never pulls it off. The jump scares are weak, and hiding an imp under a staircase or forcing the player to fight in the dark only works a handful of times, and the extremely high ammo count certainly doesn't help. Reworking the combat to have less ammo and a heavier emphasis on using the right tool for the job could make things a lot more tense and interesting. It would also fit the current trend of older survival games getting remakes. We've had 3 Resident Evil games, Dead Space, and now Silent Hill 2 join the trend. Doom 3 would be a nice addition to that list. Although I don't think it would be the best idea, they could take things in the other direction and remake Doom 3 in the same style as 2016. It may not keep the true spirit of the game, but I can't deny that it would definitely work. I'm sure the newer wave of community members that hate Doom 3 would be happy with that, since it would bring the game up to the level of the modern entries. We've established that they could absolutely develop several extremely successful Doom remakes without much complaint from the community, but the real question is, should they? Honestly, I think the answer is a firm no. If id Software had multiple teams capable of working on several full projects at once, then it really wouldn't be a very big deal. They could have their main team work on their next big project and another smaller team work on a classic Doom remake at the same time. Everyone would be happy. Unfortunately though, they don't have multiple teams to work on several games at once, so a Doom remake would have to take the place of their next big title. id Software is known for their innovative and fresh new experiences. I personally can't say but I would rather have a remake instead of another amazing new FPS game. Just imagine how it would have felt if Doom Eternal was delayed for another 3 years so that they could pump out a Doom remake between 2016 and Eternal. Many of us would have been really upset with that. After experiencing the near-perfect combat that Eternal offered, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they come up with next, and I would rather not push that off any further just so we can remake a game that honestly doesn't need one. Since they previously confirmed that they won't be doing any Doom remakes anytime soon, you're probably wondering what's next for the Doom franchise. You can learn more about every Doom project that's currently in the works by tapping on my video that's on screen now. You'll get the latest information on what id Software has been doing. Go ahead and watch the video, it has a lot of information that you don't want to miss out on. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, I hope you enjoyed it. That's pretty much all I have for now though. Until next time.